Hello friends, this is one more problem on projectile, a short problem, very short problem, and see, this is a very interesting problem. Here you have three toy cars, one can say, toy cars, 1, 2 and 3, and they are pushed horizontally at certain speed. Okay, so this is being pushed at V1, this is being pushed horizontally at V2, and this is being pushed at horizontally with speed V3. Okay, and then you are shown that they are both, three of them, two of them are at the same height, 15 meters. The third one is at 30 meters, and after being pushed, they are landing on the ground after jumping from the cliff. Right, they will fall off from the cliff. So you have a trajectory of this kind, and you are given the distance. This is 10, this is 20. So the first car would move a distance 20 horizontally, second would move a distance 10, the third will also move a distance 10. Now what you are asked is to rank the initial speed of the toys. Rank them, right? So which is the highest, the intermediate and the lowest speed. Maybe two of the speeds could be equal, whatever it is. So basically you are asked to rank the speed of these toys. Now pause the video, think about it, write down your answers and get back to me again. So start the video again. Okay, right. Hopefully you have chosen the correct answer. Now how we are going to solve this problem? You don't have to do any calculation, it's just commonsensical. See, we want to find out which velocity is, which speed here, and it's horizontal, you could call it velocity, it doesn't matter. So which is highest, right? And which is the next one, which is the next least speed. Okay. Now that will depend upon what? That will depend upon the horizontal distance that the toy car travels. Remember this. See, this is when this leaves, all of them are leaving the cliff, and they are leaving at different speeds, and they are pushed horizontally. So we have to consider the horizontal distances. Okay, we have to consider the horizontal distances. But that's one thing, because all of them, remember, all of them when they leave the cliff will fall down. They are falling down, and their vertical velocity, downward vertical velocity for all of them is going to be 0. Right? Vertical velocity. Horizontal speed or velocity you can say, because we are saying horizontal velocity is different. Okay, horizontal distances traveled are also different. Okay, now the point is, the first point you would like to know is what is the time that these cars have taken. Okay, now you can just think, and to find out time, just consider the vertical distances. These two cars are going to travel vertical distance of 15 meters. And both the cars at this point, when they are traveling downward, the downward velocity, that means the vertical component of velocity, initial velocity is going to be 0, because they are pushed horizontally. Similarly, this car is going to fall down, and initial vertical velocity of this car is also 0, right? But this car is going to travel 30 meters, whereas these cars are going to travel 15 meters, right? So one can immediately say that this car will stay for longer time in air, because the distance traveled is more, and the initial velocity here is also 0, right? So initial velocity here for both of them is 0, and the distance traveled for both of them is same. So what we can say is this car is going to take longer time. It stays in the air for longer time than these two cars, right? If you say that, then one can immediately say that, now look at the horizontal distance. Horizontal distance traveled by car 1, right? Car 1 and car 2 both are taking the same time, but horizontal distance traveled by car 1 is 20 meters, whereas horizontal distance traveled by car 2 is 10 meters. Obviously, this car will have a higher velocity. So V1 is naturally will be greater than V2, right? And compare V2 and V3, because both V2 and V3 is traveling horizontal distance 10 meters, V3 is also traveling horizontal distance 10 meters. But we have said that this car 3 stays for longer time in air, and despite being being in air for longer time, it has moved only 10 meters. And this also, despite being in this car 2, despite being for a shorter time, has traveled has traveled 10 meters, right? Both of them have traveled 10 meters horizontally, but this car has taken longer time, and this car has traveled 20 meters, right? And despite being in the air at a time equal to the time of car 2, right? So one can say that V3 is least, right, than V2 and V1. So V1 is highest speed, V2 is the next speed, and V3 is the least speed, right? Remember this, please follow this logic. You should find out what is the time, and time can be found out, relative time, time can be found out by considering the vertical distances. Initial velocities, downward direction for all these cars is 0. So the distance gives the time for which the car stays in the air. Okay, convince yourself. This is a nice problem which clarifies many concepts. Thank you.